with George and doing the rehearsal for the record was pretty cool because not only were we getting to know the material, there was intent to everything. Like some of the songs, at first as I was learning them, seemed a little repetitive, but there was an intent to everything, and the only way I was really able to kind of help convey the story from my end of things on the drums was to kind of get into George's brain a little bit about what he was trying to achieve. And George was really forthcoming with all that type of information. And some people have an idea of what they want to do for a story and don't tell very good stories, but George did a really good job with the music and wrote some really good riffs, and it's pretty cool. It's like it's kind of fun. It's been a really fun process because each song tells a part of the story, as any good record would, in terms of telling a story. But George did a great job with it. The influences that I perceived right away when I started listening to George's material and rehearsing with George, it was definitely like horror movies and like movie soundtrack, like sci-fi movie soundtracks or horror movie soundtracks, which we started talking about. Like I like a lot of Danny Elfman stuff, and I think George even told me himself that he at night he'll go to sleep to movie soundtracks, which I think is pretty cool. I've never really done a concept record before, so it's really like the first concept record I've done ever. So it was interesting with knowing all that stuff, that there had to be, other than it just being one song, another song, another song, that there was always a feeling that we were telling a story. What I think people should expect from this record, I think they should expect a really, really good record. I mean, George is putting a lot of time and effort into this. A lot of people will pardon the phrase, cut corners on things. And George is bringing in a choir for this. I mean, like, he could use keyboards and things like that to emulate choir voices and stuff. George is like doing the extra things, like I said, bringing in a choir in this, like the parts where normally you could just hit notes on keyboard. He's trying to make this, really make his vision come to fruition. And like, for instance, if he was trying to make a really good movie, he wouldn't use like, a little wind-up camera, he would use a good camera. George is using the best tools possible to make this happen, and I think he's using a lot of organic things, choir, real voices, harpsichord, things like that. How I feel about being involved with Damien and Steve Smythe in a project together, I think it's pretty interesting. Only unfortunate fact we all haven't been in the room at the same time playing together with the material, or even being in a recording studio. We're all, since Damien's doing the Death Angel thing right now, they're writing a record. Steve Smythe has his own project in England he's putting together, and I just happen to be in the Bay Area, and so is George. Everything's kind of happening like, in bits and pieces apart from each other. I think it's going to be pretty exciting to hear when it's finally all put together. I mean, Damien, we just finished the drums tonight, so I'm loopy as hell, but now Damien's going to come in and do bass, which I think is going to be great because, we've rehearsed a few times together with George, me and Damien, and it's been really cool. Like I said, unfortunately Steve hasn't been around for that part of the process, but it's kind of hard to commute back and forth from England every day. So I think it's great. I'm excited to hear what it's finally going to sound like, all put together. Hey, what's going on, man? This is Paul Bostaph. Just finished up my session with George Anderson's From Hell. Go check it out, man. Metal.